Legion on FX. Uh, just a season 3 premiere last night. Obviously directed and the showrunner Noah Hawley's kind of in charge of everything with this. Uh, we don't necessarily watch Legion the same way I think you can watch Euphoria just for the moments. We watch Legion for the weirdness and for the style and just being a part of this this strange world that's so fun and interesting to be a part of. And I think this season 3 premiere last night, obviously the final season, uh, really leaned into that weirdness. And there's always been kind of like a 60s overtone to the show, especially in terms of like costumes and it almost seems like time period as well. But they really leaned into the psychedelic aspect of the 60s in this one where uh, you know, Dan Stevens, who plays God, why don't I David Haller, is almost like the leader of like this 60s s cult ran by Lenny, who is I don't know what is Lenny at this point. Just like
Chaos, bad person. I don't know.
Yeah,
Aubrey
it's hard to
Plaza.
explain. Yeah, Aubrey Plaza, who is throwing 110 miles per hour, is always on the show.
Mhm.
And part of this story about Switch, played by Lauren Tsai, who appears to be a major character for this season. Her power is that she can time jump, turn back time, and her quest to find David and to team up with him and to join his team. Um, really, really interesting episode with, I thought, an amazing first 20 minutes of Switch trying to kind of find David. What did you think of the episode as a whole? And then maybe let's talk a little bit about what we're hoping for with this last season of Legion.
Yeah, so I thought it honestly, I think it's the best Legion premiere of the 3 seasons, and
Mm.
I mean the visuals have never faltered. That certainly didn't change now. It looks awesome, and just the originality of a lot of visuals always just stand out to me. Like the way they communicated time travel through these doors with units of time on
Yeah.
them. Really, just a smart way that obviously probably is like a genius level thing from a TV production standpoint and a way to cheaply communicate that. But it looks awesome and kind of just fits the overall way of the way they present abstract things physically, literally for the characters. I've always liked that about the show. Um, but what stood out
Mm.
to me, obviously, about this kind of feels like a bit of a course correction in terms of the criticisms a lot of people had of season 2. While it was still great to look at and the acting was still superb, of course, the plot just felt very listless in season 2, and direction just wasn't clear about where we were going or if there was even a point. And that's belabored ground. I don't have to go back into that. But I feel like this season 3 premiere, effectively demonstrated that David is clearly the bad guy. We know what
Mm-hmm.
happens after the great season 2 finale. And the rest of the people we've come to know are going after him, seemingly to kill him. I'm sure that'll change or get tweaked as we go. Farouk is still present with
Yep.
them, which is still mind boggling that he's just with the good guys now.
Yep.
Um, and so we don't certainly don't believe he's a good guy, but they've clearly established the plot for this season, and
Mm-hmm.
whether Holly committed to it and actually tells the story as this literally remains to be seen, obviously. But I just like that they kind of just very quickly established where we are and perhaps where we are going, while still
Yeah.
having all the normal strengths. So I like the premiere a lot.
Yeah, Dan Stevens has a lot to do as David in this because, like you said, he's clearly the villain, but he's also been the protagonist for the whole show. So he's, I think, still very liked by the fans, even if the way season 2 ended
Yep.
maybe positioned him to not be so likable. Well, like you said, Farouk being part of this team is like part of the good guys. This is absurd in so many ways, but I think that's the thing the show does really well is it gives you a lot of unexpected, even if sometimes maybe a bit telegraphed, but still like these unexpected team ups and things happening. Like when the team came in and killed David in at the end of the episode, or I guess in the middle of the episode, I did not see that coming at all. And I also thought he was gonna like totally, even after he lost his arm and they had put that thing I said, I thought he was totally gonna just to like demolish them. And then Sid comes in and kills him. And Switch turns back time and goes and tells him. And I was like, wow,
Yep.
that was one. It was kind of like the beginning of Avengers in a sense, like when they just go and they kill Thanos in, like the first 10
I
minutes.
mean,
Um,
bring it back even a little bit. The source material is X-Men. It's Days of Future Past.
True. Yeah. Good call. Um, but it's just such a fun show to watch, and there's so many weird things going on. Um, yeah, it's just I really enjoy this show, even if it's probably season two obviously had some issues, and we talked about that, but it's still just always pleasurable. Even if the episodes are listless, you're like, wow, that visual is cool. Like you talked about, the way that they depict ideas is cool. And I really like a lot of the characters on this show. I mean, um, Sid got very little screen time, but I really enjoy her as a character. We have just this whole bevy of people in the
Mhm.
upcoming episodes. It seems like we're going to get a lot of um, David kind of exploring his own past through Switch's abilities, and I'm really excited to see when he meets Professor X, played by Harry Lloyd, Viserys Targaryen, um, later on in the season, and
Yeah.
kind of what that encounter will be like. 'Cause I feel like that's going to be fucking epic.
It's
What do
also
you
nice to
expect of
see.
this season?
Oh, expectations. I really don't. I don't know how you can really have any. Uh, I just I hope that we get some kind of finality of a sense. I just and again, that is the promise of this premiere just gives me hope that there might be a little more plot than season two. So again, could very well change. But I'm just looking for just some kind of bookend to David's arc. Obviously, his arc is the most integral to the show thus far. I'm sure Sid will be very much involved with that, and Lenny as well. But I just don't want it to like kind of just end and people be like, "That's it," or
Uh,
I wanted more. Obviously, it's been a talking point recently with a lot of shows ending this year, notably Thrones. But you know, anything just to give it any kind of finality. And if it's an FX show, John Landgraf deserves a lot of credit for letting this show exist the way in the form it is. Yes,
mhm.
Marvel TV helps produce the show. Noah Hawley's attached, and he has a relationship with FX, but it's not like a ratings juggernaut or anything.
No.
So I have a feeling that just creatively, they don't really give any notes at all. They just be like, yeah, do whatever, man. Final season, go for it. So I
Do your
hope
thing.
it's what Holly wanted to do, and I hope he had a good plan for a good idea. This came out a little over a year after season two ended, so it was a pretty quick turnaround. So we'll see. I mean, do you have any thoughts on where you want it to go?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to see finality for David. I also definitely want to see what the whole deal is with Farouk, which I know you mentioned when we did the review, but uh, shout out to, um, man, I lost my place again.
Navid.
Navid
Yep.
Nagabam, who was the Sultan in Aladdin. He's always electric when he's on screen as well, and the whole scene with
Yeah.
Switch and him, like in that or like mind space that he brought her to, I thought was really really cool. Um, I'm hoping to see a showdown between them again, and also I think it would be really interesting to see them explore a little bit of David's past, because he was talking about how he was adopted and things like that, and in this episode, and just to kind of get some sense of like, I guess, some clarity on the past seasons, because I do feel like there's still almost this idea of like what was real and what wasn't, what was in David's head and what wasn't, and I think kind of getting some idea of like what is a coping mechanism for David and what is really him being controlled by Farouk or Lenny or whoever it is, would be really really interesting.
Yeah, I'm also curious. Is Professor X's presence on the show just going to be via those going back in time moments, those flashbacks of sort, or will we actually see the series pull up in the present timeline and have an effect on the
Right.
story? Could go either way. Who
Direct
knows?
Legion season 3. Check it out if you haven't been. Um, Definitely enjoy pretty much anything Noah Hawley puts out right now.